let's see how this environment as a modifier set up, this wraparound light, works on a male portrait. It's going to be just as beautiful. I can already tell. Very, very simple, flattering for everybody. I've made a couple of changes here, and I think I've lost my mind. Basically, I've now created this white wall around me just to see how that would look when we're really in a studio that has a lot of white walls. And if you look back here, this is where I've lost my mind. Remember, I had this ELC 1000, this Elinchrom light, 1000 watt seconds. It's just a number. But if you are following along, the ELB, which is B for battery, 500 is half the maximum power of the 1000. Make sense so far? I had the ELB 1000. Remember, it was turned up to 7 when I was shooting earlier. And what was happening is that if I was taking a picture, I needed to wait for that water to refill inside the light, that electricity to refill before I could shoot again. And it meant I could only shoot every 1.5 seconds or so. And it was driving me a little bit bananas, but it's a compromise I'm willing to make. But because I have all these lights here, I don't have to. And I wanted to demonstrate a little principle here. So when I had this light at 7.0, don't worry about the number. It just means from 7 to 6, we're halving. So at 7, let's say we're using 1,000 watts. You don't have to understand what a watt is. I still don't fully. Electrons and everything, I'm not an electrician. It still makes my head melt. But if it's 1,000 units of electricity, let's just think about that. If I go to 6.0, one stop down, I'm using 500 units of electricity. If it took a second for those 1,000 to recharge before, it's only going to take half a second for the 500 to recharge. So I'm doubling the speed at which I can shoot. So to make up for that, I'm adding other lights, also not at maximum power. And I'm going to put in a total of 4 lights. If I was to go from 7 to 6, so I would have used 1,000 units of electricity before, I'm going to 500 that's coming out of this. I would just have to have one other light at the same strength, also pushing out 1,000, to get the same 1,000 units happening at the same time. I hope that makes sense. But because I've got 4, I'm putting 4 of them at the 500 mark. Oh, sorry, I'm going to put 4 of them at the 250 mark. So I'm going to turn this down to 5.0. That's if you can't see that, that's what it says on the back there. And the other units are also going to put out about that 250 units of electricity. That means they will all, or this one, will recharge at 1/4 of a second. So I can take a perfectly lit shot every 1/4 of a second when I combine these 4 lights together. They're all behaving as one. A little side note, you can get a light that's that powerful. Profoto makes one that is a studio light that costs about $24,000. And I don't know about you, but I don't have $24,000, at least definitely not for my traveling lighting kit. So I'm going to make do with what I have. It's a luxury. You don't need to have it, but it allows me to shoot very quickly. In terms of what we have here, again, I've blocked off the ceiling because I don't necessarily want the light that's coming over the top. It's just a personal choice. Also, with someone with no hair, that might be a little bit too much shine off the top of his head. I've got, again, I don't want any light bouncing off of this, and he's in that space where he's just getting the light from the environment. So let's see how that shoots, and I can shoot much faster and how it looks. Curtis, I'm going to tuck you into the back there a little bit more. Perfect. Good. And we just want to create some new sort of portraits for him that he could use for whatever he wants. Let's see. Curtis also does some acting, so hire him. But also, there you go. That's how you get a smile. Perfect. Good. So that's, again, my shutter speed, 200th of a second. I'm at f5.6. I'm at 200 ISO. I'm going to take the shutter off and do an ambient light test. Make sure that I don't have too much of my ambient light affecting the frame. And that's good enough. And then this is where I'm at when I shoot. Okay, let me make sure everything fires here. There we go. That sounded really satisfying. Lovely. And we get really beautiful soft light. I would say it's about a quarter stop underexposed still. So I'm going to turn these up maybe 2/10 each. That's the downside of having 4 of these. It takes a little longer. I could have also done it from my remote on the top of the camera, but I'm an old school kind of guy. So I'll just go over there and adjust them. I know they really did adjust. So I've turned them all up a touch. Curtis, so what I want you to do, the watch hand, bring it back a little bit. So you're kind of like, it gives me the elbow, you know what I mean? Where it was here, yeah, you could do that. Good, lean towards me. Good. Give me really charming. Yeah, that's great. Let me do some standing here, actually, standing poses. So the light, really, really soft, really highlights his features nicely. We have catch lights in the eyes. He looks handsome. Good. I might want it to come from a little higher, just to give him a little bit more of a top-down view. So I'm going to test my strength and raise all of these lights up in one go all together. Let's see if I can do that. Otherwise, let's see. All right. Whew. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. All right. There we go. Now it should feel, the whole thing should feel like it's coming from slightly higher up. Let's see how that feels. Curtis looks great. Let's use that apple box as like a sort of posing opportunity there. If you put it in front of you, sort of the flat side. Yeah, and I wonder if you could just get me like a, yeah, perfect. Oh yeah, that might be a little too much. We're gonna maybe put it this way. There we go. Yeah, that's great. Lovely, very charming there. Excellent. Nice. That's a nice shape. If we did it the tall way, the tallest way, or maybe we'll give you a little box. And I'm wondering if you could, let's get an arms moment, you know, where we show, yeah, perfect. And don't hold on to the other hand. Yeah, we'll do that. We still want to be a little tall there. Yeah, perfect. Good. And then just get that biceps. We'll just cheat. There we go. Yeah, exactly. And it looks so casual. Just relax that hand, the watch hand. Yeah, don't flop the wrist. You want to just relax the fingers, but not have a fist. So that the wrist is going straight out. Yeah, but then you just relax the fingers. There we go. And just, it could just be like that. There we go. We just don't want to have it look like you're clenching up. Perfect. That's great. Good. What about, let me see if I can mirror with you. This looks so crunchy, the light, really nice. No complaints. Let me see. Here, let's switch places. So you go over there. Let's see how this feels, hey? This is mirroring. I like this. What if we did like a, if we did one of those? How tall are you? 6'1"? Something like that? Yeah, let's just see, because that's going to give you both of your arms in the shot. Otherwise, this might be a little tall. It's going to make a loud sound. That's a little too low, right? So maybe we give you a little half apple box here on top, precariously perched. Then we could do one like that without like collapsing. So it's all about the core, right? You could do little movements here. I'm going to crop it so it doesn't look, because it looks kind of weird when you do that. How does that look when you look at me? Yeah, okay, that makes it work. It's all about finding the height, right? Perfect. There we go. Oh yeah, good. And you could bring the leg out a little bit, actually, like the knee. Yeah, exactly. And then lean both arms on it. Let's see how you can. Nice. Yes, there it is. And then we flex here. That'll be our little secret. No one will know. It's not like this is being recorded. There we go. Look at that. And perfect. That's a great little headshot for you and shows your shape really nicely as well. Perfect. And then the only other thing I think we're going to do here is, Magnus, could I get your help just to maybe hold the black V flat there again? Yeah, just get into that little gap there. And Curtis, and bring it so it has to be in front of here. There we go. Perfect. And we didn't collapse the thing down. And Magnus is going to hold it so you can kind of pretend to lean against it. So we could kind of do like a leaning shot, maybe a hand in the pocket, really cool dude vibes. Yeah, excellent. Maybe give me a cross-armed here. Oh, maybe one arm down. Let's see. That one can be in the pocket. I always like to go when I'm like, what's not working? Let me try shoot it, and then I'll see. This is how I pose all my, that's actually kind of nice. I see. what I think we could do, that's kind of nice. What I think we could do is when I get like stuck with posing, because I want to help him make this fast, he's an important CEO type, you know what I mean? They don't have a lot of time usually. So I'll just go to where, yes, okay. Curtis, have a look from what I'm seeing here. And just try the pose, because sometimes I ask someone to do something impossible. Magnus is actually holding this very nicely. We don't have to cross the arms, but maybe this hand can go in here. You can do the other one. And it's not really a lean, but maybe you bring the hands over. Maybe you just your elbow on here, so you don't collapse into that wall. And it just gives it a little casual feeling. Yeah? Let's try that. Yes, there he is, pulling it off. Perfect. Magnus, I can see your 2 fingers behind there. That's fine. I'll Photoshop them out. It'll be a little Easter egg. It looks like some sort of AI freak show. Yeah. Perfect. That's great. Curtis, and bring the top of your head up. Yeah, that's great. Really nice portrait. This is kind of like, I mean, I'm bringing this point around over and over. I just wanted to show you guys different subjects, different people in this light. It's really transformative and it works for everyone. Lots of different scenarios. It always just works. Oh, one other thing. I have an idea. Okay, what if we were to take the side away and we just have black walls over here? You know, maybe we have a room that has that, where we're not getting any of the side light at all. So I'm going to close these down. Just let this one hang out here. So now we're just bouncing light from this corner. Let's do the same pose we just had. And I think I'm going to lose some of that light. It's going to feel a lot darker, but it'll feel less sidey. Nice. Okay, we're getting a lot less of that bounce on him. From the side, come forward a tiny bit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Magnus, as well. Lovely. So now he's just getting filled in mostly from the front here. Bring the chin down a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And I just did that because I wanted to show you that no matter what the configuration of your space is, you don't need to have a perfect box of perfectly shiny, freshly painted walls. You can have, if you have wood paneling on the side, or you want to cover something up that you don't think you can find a bounce surface, I'm doing this with just the light that's bouncing off the cedar blocks up there, and a little bit of light bouncing out of this. And then just to wrap this up, I'll show you what those bounce surfaces look like by taking a picture of just that. Perfect. And then what's up above. There we go. That's what's lighting Curtis right now. We've created billion light setup with 4 lights. That acting is one. Thank you, Curtis, and thank you, everyone. For our male model, shooting him in the environment gives us a little bit of a different feeling. I've created a really soft feeling here for him as a sort of headshot. Because it's so soft, and I have the second image that has a flare, so I wanted to show you how I deal with that. Let's start with this one. Here it's very, very soft, and he has those piercing eyes, so I would add a little bit of contrast, and look how well it responds as we do that. Again, I don't want to go too far, that's too much. But if I stay subtle here, and then instead use my curve to add a little bit of contrast, I'm not going too far with any one slider. It's the subtlety stays. I could warm it up a little bit, and voila, it's a shot that's done. I don't need to do anything else. Let's go have a look at that other shot. So this is a very intense flare, and I wanted to show what I do here. You can see in the curve that the bottoms are clipped, and I'll just use my levels adjuster to bring that back in. In this image, to rescue it, I would probably just make it black and white. Look how dreamy that looks. Crop in a little bit so you can't see really what's happening there. And that just feels to me, with a little bit of contrast perhaps, lovely. See how the contrast comes across from the left? we've got an image that's rescued. And that's giving me also an idea that when we take this back out of black and white, I think it works really well in black and white actually. We've rescued that flare, and very easy, I can add a mask with a gradient. I always do it the wrong way around. I think it's this way. I'm going to move that over. Ugh. Expertly. I'll try it one more time. There we go. I think that's the correct way around. I'm just going to bring the shadows up. There we go. And just to, the flare's coming from camera right, so it's going to fall off as we move across to camera left. And from here, lovely. We've rescued that image. I could even bring in the blacks a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. So that's for a male model on the environment as modifier set. And if you remember, we moved around to kind of even get a backlight feeling and to use that flare to our advantage to create a really dynamic image. With the same setup that I used for our male portrait subject, I'm also going to show you and maybe dispel the myth that for photographing someone who has muscles or for getting definition on fitness subjects, you need hard light. I've always been a believer in soft light really helps define features. So I'm just going to shoot our model Milan a little bit to show you how the soft light really helps define the muscles as well. All right, let's just get into it. He knows what he's doing. There we go. We have that same setup, and the only thing I might change, looks super muscly, good. The only thing I might change is, excellent Milan, thank you. Mike, would you help me just take the ceiling off of this? I'm going to have some of that light come over from the top. Excellent. Lovely. And let's see what happens there. I think my V-flat here is about to fall down. Perfect. And then I should end up with some of that light also leaking in above, and that's really great. And I might add, let's use, can I grab that folding V-flat? Wherever that might, thank you, Milan. I might add just a little bit of negative fill on this side of Milan to give it a little bit more shape, which I will do with this, I got it, folding V-flat here. It's like magic. All right, there we go. And then I'll just stick that on the black side, on this side of him. Excellent. And we can just shape and define a little bit, and I'll shoot handheld. But that looks actually really good, and it's defining him and showing the shape really nicely. I mean, I think that he really looks muscular there, even though it's soft light. So let's do a few different poses. Give me like a side-on angle. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and you kind of want to flex without looking like you're flexing, right? Yeah. Oh, look at that professional model here. Moving, perfect. Give me like a complete side-on. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Lovely, excellent. Yeah, nice. And then I'm going to show you one other little trick that I can do because this is out the gate really nice. Yeah, do that, do that. Excellent. Good shape there. Maybe show me your back a little bit. There. Come back around, actually. Sorry, come back. Yeah, there. Just there. Perfect. We just get a few different angles. But I want to show you also what happens as I come around away from the source of the light. So Milan, what I'll have you do is just sort of, you can't lean against that, but if you stand there, and I'll just do it right to me here. Look at me here. Perfect. And then just make your body follow me as that looks good. That's a good angle, actually, what we just had there. Perfect. Good. Look that way. Excellent. Make your body follow me. And you can kind of dial in. Perfect. Excellent. How much of that fill you want to get based on where you are in relation to that light source. So again, these are probably a little underexposed. But I'm going to show you what happens here when I make the adjustment in Capture One to add a little bit, maybe half a stop of light and a little bit of contrast, how we just get so much of that definition right in there, and we can even bring up the shadows, and he looks super buff and defined. Are we doing that? That's kind of cool. Perfect. That's great. He knows his angles. Yeah. Excellent. I'm going to do one more look. I think there's like a sweater we had where we could do like a little abs moment. Jess has that ready. Perfect. There we go. That's kind of cool. And then the other thing I'm going to do is show my strength. Don't get jealous, Milan. And raise these up a little higher. I want the light to come from above a little bit more. I think that's as high as I can go. Just to see if we can get that light coming over the top. This is why sandbags are very important. That helps that light not fall down. All right, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's actually nice. Perfect. Yeah, that's kind of cool. You could open up just a touch more. Yeah, perfect. That's great. Take a little step this way. Perfect. I'll put you in the middle of that box. So as I raise the light higher, we get a little bit more coming over the backdrop there, giving us a little bit of that highlight. Again, it's underexposed, but I can always push it in post. That looks very good. Perfect. Good. Yeah, and could you just pretend to be doing the sweater up? Like, do it up? Yeah. Then we don't actually see much, do we? No. That might not work. That's all right, yeah. It's like, well, let me see some. Yeah, perfect. Good. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Could you like throw it back? Sure. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's nice. There we go. I think we found a little moment here. Very good. Wow. One more time. We'll put the music on for this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. What does that remind me of? There's a pop culture reference in here somewhere, like some cheesy 90s song that, yeah, perfect. All right, and go. Lovely. Yeah, that's great. Okay, good. I'm feeling like we've shown here that even for getting definition in people's bodies in fitness, you can get definition even in soft light.